So what's up, everybody? It's me, True Star Screamer, and we are doing a double NECA review. I don't know if I've ever done this, and this should be kind of fun. We are looking at the Assassin's Creed figures, both from Brotherhood and Revelations, of Etzio, Aditore, aka the coolest of all the assassins from Assassin's Creed. Now, I will say I am not the biggest hardcore Assassin's Creed fan. I did play a little bit of 1 and got bored. Played 2, and then I forgot why life got out of sorts. Skipped 3. I did play all of Black Flag. I did enjoy Black Flag, and then that was pretty much the last of them. But there is no denying that these assassins are iconic in video games. This is actually a re-release of them. These, at least, I think, the Revelations one is at least a re-release. I don't remember too much. When it was first released, it was on the plastic card, and it was when NECA was a little more on the fragile side, if you know what I'm saying. So they re-released these guys using the new plastics, the new joint systems. The packaging is great. I love the backdrop, especially here in the Brotherhood, showing the cathedral back there. There are definitely some differences in the costumes, which I look forward to. You know, it isn't just like a straight repaint. NECA really did put the love in this. So while there's a lot of shared stuff in here, there is definitely some original pieces to it. Like the arts on the side. As always, love the art on the back. NECA really knows how to knock the packaging out of the park. So we've got here the legendary assassin on Brotherhood and the mentor from Revelations. So enough about the packaging, though. Let's get these guys out of the box, and I'm kind of basically gonna do like side-by-side reviews, kind of simultaneous, showing how they're alike and how they're different. So stick around, this is gonna be fun. So a couple things I wanted to go over before I really busted them out of the packaging, and that is the shared accessories. So they both have the same crossbow, which is pretty cool. They both have the same, well, let's see now, the mentor looks like has a single wrist dagger, while from the Brotherhood one is going to have 2 wrist daggers, but they're the same blades on there, and they all have the same hands. This way I just don't want to get too repetitive. As you know, I don't go too much into putting all the different hands into them, but they do have the same 5 hands in them, so I thought that was kind of cool on there. So after that, though, it's going to be 2 different swords, different side weapons. So, you know, the hands, we got the open hands on both. We have a hand to hold the crossbow, hand to hold the sword. So, you know, someone said that's a thumbs up sign. I think that's more for holding a dagger or a blade undersided, but we'll see as we mess with the figure. So here we have them out of the package. I went ahead and changed the head. I changed some of the distinct weapons because I really wanted to show off how each one shows Etzio at a definitely different part of his life. In the second Assassin's Creed 2, Etzio had a lot more bravado. He was very, very brazen. You know, he had the whole village thing going outside. You know, he was much more overt. I mean, some of his attire, you can see that. Meanwhile, here in Revelations, he definitely looks more like a true assassin who would be skulking in the shadows. Ooh, I got to use the word skulk. We'll use Revelations one here for a moment to kind of show off some of the basic articulation that they both share. One thing is, there is a waist joint, but there is a hinge joint, kind of Marvel Legends-esque, which does give a very decent ab crunch and a very decent back bend. Also, which kind of really surprised me, again, I did not get the first one just because, again, of the plastic quality, and I'm gonna mention some of the joint tolerances here still had me a little worried. I did hit them both with a hairdryer, I'm going to admit it. I had the paranoia hit. But these have butterfly joints. So I think that is a very neat thing for the skeleton. So, oh look, I can have him jump, have him out there, and have him immediately get ready to dive into a bale of hay. We all love doing it. It's probably one of the best parts about that game. So they both share that. You know, the base body, when I pull more of the Brotherhood one, we'll see. But they have the basic same base body with then different overlays. And that's where a lot of the, while there's some shared parts, that's where the distinction really goes through, is with the overlays. The gauntlets are also shared, just painted differently. And I mentioned before the hands. Now one thing with the gauntlets is they do limit his elbow joint, which already is single jointed, but it cannot do 90 degrees. So you gotta kind of finesse things a little. In fact, if you turn the arm on the socket, it makes it even less. These are things to keep in mind. All the wrist joints are in and outs, and the knees are double jointed. Depending on, you know, if I got the hip split, I can get a decent kick outward. He can kick forward, just halfway. This is a NECA figure, unfortunately, not a, not a Hasbro Marvel Legend, not a Spider-Man figure, which is sad because, I like to say, hey, at least he's not a ninja. This is an assassin. I kind of want him to get in those crazy moves, in those crazy poses. So he cannot. It's not saying he can't do stuff, it's just keep in mind he can't do all the stuff I really, really want. Still, this is definitely more of a, hate to say it with NECAs, they're more of display pieces, but it is what it is. When you break the two figures out though, again, these overlays are where things get much more distinct. We'll move to Brotherhood, and then we'll talk about his details. First of all, he does have the alternate head. The other one does not. Because once again, much more bravado. This Etzio would be walking around in the street, his face shown, so everyone could see who he's like. Great face sculpt on here. One thing I'm not a big fan of in the design is the head is on a very small pin, and so when I get it in there, it doesn't quite pop. It doesn't quite feel as secure as I'd like it to be. Sometimes I think it's in, other times I think it's not. No, I've never heard that before in my life. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I don't have him installed here, but he does come with two dagger blades that can slide up into the wrist, just like this one here. So he's got two of them while he has the hook. These are very much like the Feral Predator ones, where you just have to kind of put them in there and find that sweet spot. That was something that did kind of annoy me, and I was very little concerned with on there. He's got the flared sleeves on here, which is very nice, and he's got a very lovely sword that's got the knuckle guard on the hilts. And this is painted beautifully. Speaking of the paint, the silver on the gauntlets is gorgeous, and the texturing on his outfit has this lovely wash on it. This type of wash. This was the thing I was putting on the Sisters of Battle figures I got from McFarlane, where while it's got the texturing, he didn't have the wash. Same with the belt buckle here. Again, this is one thing where NECA completely outclasses McFarlane of putting these washes on here to bring out the details. You can make out all the stitchings on and the embroidery on the jacket. I absolutely love it. Now this belt here, unfortunately, now it is true to the design of the character, so I can't fault him on that, but it does limit his waist joint on here. So that's kind of a bummer. You can still bend back okay with it, and he still has the butterfly joint. The shoulder pauldrons do not restrict the shoulder, the actual shoulder movement, which is very nice. Putting in the hands, you definitely got to make sure you jam them in there really good, because as you saw, it was getting loose, but once you get them in there, they're pretty decent. Another thing, and this is just with the design with both the figures, the crossbow hand is only on this side, but the sword hand is also only on his right hand, so I can't have him dual wield both crossbow and sword. I think you can only do one in the video game anyway, but come on, proposing would have looked really cool. Neck, decent articulation on there, but when you do have the hood, I want to point that out, that does restrict some of the movement. Him with the hood, absolutely awesome. You can make out the same face sculpt underneath, but when the light hits just right, it's lovely and shadowy. And again, has that wash, and I like how the inside's still red on here. This is where NECA shines. He's got the single shoulder cape on here. Again, the belt's got these daggers. They're all sculpted in there. They are not removable. This isn't a Mezco figure, because if these were Mezcos, this would be probably removable and lost in the carpet somewhere. Legs themselves, pin joints. The boots are gorgeous, and we got the silver buckle on there, which is nice. And you even have a toe joint, which he really doesn't need because he doesn't get into those types of poses. Again, the boot itself has texturing on there. The pants, they've got some stitching on there, and he does have a thigh swivel, and he has a boot cut. So again, very good on the articulation. It's just some of the restrictions I can't utilize at all. For the Brotherhood figure, it's a different outfit. So not a lot of reuse. I was very surprised on there. Again, I love the silver painting on the edgings, but they all have a wash to it, so it brings out all the detail. I said before, this is definitely a more seasoned Etzio. He does not come with the faceless head, but he does come with a few more weapons. He has the wrist dagger, then he also has a hook, which is kind of cool. The sword is much more subtle with the small, much smaller hilt to it. This just slides right into this belt strap on there, and he's got a lovely dagger. Well painted pommel, and I mean all the buckles and everything is really nice. He doesn't have as far of a slit up the side like the Brotherhood one does, so he doesn't quite get the splits as much. Starting from the bottom, the boots also gorgeous on here. They are not the same boots, so it's not like he had them changed and they got weathered through life. It is a different design altogether. The only thing that's pretty much shared is the gauntlets, which does not have the silver paint to it. He does not have the same flared wrists on there, but actually, you know what? I'm wrong, because these have fur on the line of the gauntlets, so these are slightly different gauntlets. So there's a lot. I'm surprised the amount of resculpt they put for the same character. Color me surprised. I could probably put the other head onto this one, but it just won't look the same, just because, again, this one's just so much more serious. I think it just kills the theme for it. Back of it, again, more buckles on here. The pouches. Yes, I'm seeing the screws here, but he actually has the screws on this one as well, so maybe you can finagle the straps on there. It is impressive. I'm surprised it is so much heavily retooling for these two figures, to be honest. I mean, even the body here underneath of it, it's got the, he's got robes underneath of it. It's really, really nice. They do share the crossbow. It is the same crossbow design. This has just got much of a deeper weathering on the metal, which I think is very nice, so I can tell the difference of who goes to who. I did grab one of the hands. I do recommend actually putting the weapon in the hand before switching it out. And if you angle it just right, I did heat up this hand to get it in there. I want to point that out, because you can almost level it. That's probably one of my biggest criticisms. I know it's a dumb one, but if this being the crossbow, I think they should have had the vertical hinge as opposed to the in and out. I admit it, I'm nitpicking, but hey, this is my channel, I can do that. Yeah, I haven't broke out the turntable in I don't know how long. I'm also remembering why I haven't broken out the turntable in how long. I really need to redo this base. But, not to channel Articulated Ninja here, but I do love the spinning base. These guys definitely have personality and show the character development of Etzio from his younger, more bravado days to becoming the master, being much more stealthier and vicious and all. I definitely have a favorite between the two. I will blatantly say that. As cool as much as I loved Assassin's Creed 2, as far as the figure goes, the Revelations one, in my opinion, is the superior of the two, and I'll get into that as well. But as a pair, they are absolutely stunning. They have their pros, they have their cons, but if you are a hardcore Assassin's Creed fan, I definitely would recommend both of them. If you're casual, I'd probably go with the Revelations one. Just, it's a personal thing. I'm definitely glad I purchased them. The joints on this one still scares me. That's about it. But let me know your thoughts down below. Did you enjoy this? Did these help make you decide on them? Are you just going to get one? Or are you going to get both? Should I do more NECA stuff? Should I do more video game stuff? Questions like these, only you guys can answer by putting some comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. Stuff is coming. I've gotten the ship notices, so the reviews will be coming. But most importantly, as always, until next time, take care. Peace.